Hey John, what's going on, my man? Yeah, this is Cameron. We were just speaking over text to possibly get you more remodeling jobs. Does that ring a bell? Awesome. So I just wanted to say why I'm reaching out today specifically. We're expanding out to Wooddale area right now because we don't currently work with a remodeler in your area. Okay? So I run a company called Renovation Ready, and what we actually do is we partner up with insert niche. We partner up with aging in-place remodeling businesses just like yours, and we help them get an extra 20 jobs a month and fill their empty calendar with new jobs. We have a whole system that we work with tons of different remodelers right now to do exactly that pretty much guarantees that, or you get your money back. I know you're busy, so I'll keep it short. Would you be open to a 15 to 20 minute Zoom call later today or tomorrow? I can walk you through the nuts and bolts of how the system works, show you the results, and see if we're a good fit to help. Sound good? Awesome. At this point, this is where you are going to book them in for an appointment. Now, a couple of tips when you're on the phone here is if they tell you, oh, I'm not available right now, I'm busy, you want to push back on that. You want to do what we call objection handling. So you don't just want to go, okay, no problem, when should I call you back? The likelihood of you getting back on the phone with this lead after the initial contact point and being on the phone with them now is almost 0 to none. So the way that I would push back on that is like, yeah, totally get it, man. This is literally going to take 10 seconds. I just want to see if there's a mutual fit here and if we're aligned, and if it is, great, we can book in a Zoom call. Sound good? Awesome. And then you literally just ask, are you free for a call today or tomorrow? Now, in an ideal scenario, we'd be going in, we'd be qualifying, making sure they're the right fit. But when you first start out, you need to get scrappy. You need to sign anybody that you can. It's not a game of like, oh, is this person qualified or not? You need to get as many people on a Zoom call as possible. This is what we call getting more shots on goal. The more shots on goal you have, the better you're going to get at sales, the higher the likelihood of you closing a client, okay? And you're pretty much all set from here. You just want to go ahead and create your first messaging script and put it in the workflow as we have, and then follow the final steps to audit the workflow to your niche. Now, a couple of final tips here that I will give you on this entire system and how it works. It's absolutely important to understand the basics of how the system works before you start it, which I've already ran you through. I've given you the scripts, I've given you the framework, I've given you the workflows, and this is working for us and for tons of other people inside of Launch and Land right now, but it's important that you learn how to draft your own scripts and learn how to get good results to keep the system running and applicable forever. This is why I always recommend testing. The script we give you might work, but it will soon get saturated. So you need to keep reiterating and finding similar versions and drafting your own versions of the script. So what do I mean by testing? An example of that would be creating 5 variations of our opening message to increase your initial response rate. Okay. Now, don't do this with your first 3, 4, 5,000 contacts, but after that point, you want to start testing to see if something can get you a better result in terms of a higher response rate or a higher book to call rate, okay? So all I would do is I would get this message, I'd put it into ChatGPT and say, I need 5 different variations of this message. Can you help me with that? And there we go. We've got 5 different variations that we can use. Obviously, when you do this, I would highly recommend getting rid of the big, long dashes because people know that it's ChatGPT, okay? You want to send at least 300 messages with each 5 variations. So you never want to change your initial opening message before you've sent at least 300 messages with one. And then simply all you want to do is see what works and apply volume. Now, a couple of other things. Speed to lead. If you are not contacting your lead within 5 minutes of getting notified that they are a hot lead, meaning they've responded positively, what are you doing? You need to be focusing on speed to lead, okay? There was a study that was done on this that showed after the first 5 minutes, the likelihood of a lead picking up the phone goes down by like 100 times. Okay, it's pretty much this one, right? You can see the longer that we leave it, the highest likelihood of us getting on the phone with somebody is within 5 minutes of them responding positively. After 10 minutes, there is a 5 minutes, there is a 900% decrease in contact rate. So we must call leads as soon as possible. It is going to be uncomfortable. It is going to be hard, but you've got to get over it. You just need to understand that the first 5 to 10 calls that you do outbound to these leads are going to be the hardest, and you're going to get better and better as time goes on. Another thing, volume. You will not get anywhere by sending 100 to 300 messages a day. You should be sending at least 500 to 1,000 SMSs a day to see results. It's purely a volume game. You want to think of it like ads. Would you get leads if you were only getting 100 views on your ads? No. So don't be a pussy and apply crazy volume. You have to go crazy on the volume. This isn't like cold calling where you do one call and you do 50 points of research on the call before you make it. We must apply volume and pressure on this outreach strategy. And the goal of each message is to get them to read the next message or get them on a phone call. Your goal is not to book meetings. It's to move them further down the sales process. So do not fall into the trap of handling objections on SMS. Objections will be handled on the calls. And this is why in your messaging, you want to keep it brief and to the point so we can handle all of the objections and questions on the call directly. Don't go back and forth with them via text too much. It's kind of like you want to have an illusion of like, I don't actually know what these guys do, but I'm kind of curious. Like, it's kind of like when you watch a trailer of a Netflix series and you're like, holy shit, I'm captivated by this. I want to continue watching. The same principle applies in your SMS. Okay, so that being said, again, apply volume, repeat this exact process. If you need to go back and rewatch everything I just did over the next 4 or 5 days, my action item for you is to do a minimum of 750 outbound messages every single day. And through the time period that you're going to be sending out the SMS, make sure that you are available, you have the phone app ready so you can call these leads and just follow the script that I've shown you here. Now, in terms of booking these people in for an appointment, if you remember, what we've got a sales call reminder workflow here. Basically, the way that this works is whenever somebody books on our new client generation calendar, which will be set up in your snapshot, it will notify you that a sales call has been booked. It will send them a confirmation email, a text. It will then do the same 1 day before, 1 hour before, and 5 minutes before. So the way that we book these people is very simple. First thing is we go to calendars. Your calendar will be here, and you will see your Google Calendar connected here if you integrated it correctly, as we've already gone over. All you'll do is, let's say I was booking for 12 p.m. I'd just drag and drop. I'd put it on the new client generation one that we set up earlier. I'd select the contact, whoever that may be, like so. And then I would put the appointment title, which isn't that relevant. You can kind of leave it blank, put in the time, and then book the appointment. Now, when you book this appointment, the confirmations are then going to get sent out to that lead. It will be on your calendar, and this will also show on your Google Calendar as well, and you'll be notified directly. Now, rule of thumb here is if you have their email, it is going to benefit you because you can also send them email reminders to make sure that they show up to the appointment, okay? And the minute that we book somebody in, they will also move to this appointment booked stage. So we can see here now, if I just refresh, that this appointment is now under the appointment booked section, and we have the date and time of the appointment here directly. And if we click into this, we click book and update appointment. Under here, we also have the ability to change the appointment time, change the name, etc., if you very wish to do so. And you can see because we connected Google Meets, we also have the meeting location here directly. So the minute that I want to join this call, I can just paste this in like so. And this is where I would officially meet with the prospect to sell them, which we're going to be getting into the sales process here in a moment. Okay. Now, another rule of thumb, you have to expect with cold outreach that your show rate is going to be kind of bad. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you get like a 40 to 50% show rate. It is purely a volume game. And I promise you, when you have enough money to launch paid ads to get new clients, this isn't really going to be as much of a problem. Okay. But for now, it's going to be a problem. This is why when you book these sales calls, you must be booking them for the soonest available slot in your calendar. You should always be giving them 2 options. So if we go back to the SMS calling script here, this is why we say, are you free for a call later today or tomorrow? You always want to pitch them when you're booking in an appointment, the soonest available time that you have on your calendar. So an example of this, I know you're pretty busy, so I'll keep it short. Would you be open to a quick 15 to 20 minute Zoom call later today or tomorrow? I can walk you through the nuts and bolts of what we do, how it works, the results we've been getting, and see if we're a good fit to help. Awesome. So how's today at 2 p.m.? I've just had a reschedule come in here. So the framing that we want to give is like, our calendar is very busy. We have a lot of interest. We have a lot of people that want to work with us. I just had, 1 or 2 reschedules come up for later today. I could probably slot you in there. How does that sound? You see how we're putting ourselves in a place of authority that way, instead of us going to the prospect, oh, when are you free, Mr. Prospect? I'll make the accommodation for you. Because then immediately you put them in the place of power and authority, and it gives the illusion that you're not speaking to anybody else. Even if you're not speaking to anybody else, this is your first lead, we still must give the illusion of authority, that we've got an abundance of people that want to work with us. We're very busy. We have a lot of clients, okay? Because nobody wants to work with somebody as their first client because they know that they're going to be the guinea pig. So that's my final tip on that piece. Now, that being said, now we're going to move into the sales process. So now you know exactly how to book sales meetings on your calendar. Now, how do you get those people on a live Zoom call and to convince them to pay you money? That's what we're going to break down here. We're going to go over the sales mindset and overcoming fear, the full stack sales process, and then a live sales call breakdown. So in terms of the sales mindset, because a lot of people that I speak to when they're first starting out, the biggest fear they have is getting on a sales call with a prospect and not knowing what to say, how to say it, and overall just being completely overwhelmed and being too scared to take action. Much like everything that I've told you in this course, you must take relentless action, regardless of how you feel. And one of the biggest pitfalls that people fall into here is letting fear prevent them from taking their first sales call. Whether that be, what if I mess up? What if they don't buy? What if they reject me? Whatever fear is in your mind, you need to know it's only going to go away through action. I wish I could give you some magic pill or some magic mindset hack that's going to stop you from feeling scared to take your first sales call. One thing that I would encourage you to think about a lot is we suffer more in our imagination than our reality. The way that the human mind is built is we are wired to look for threats, think worst case scenario, and you need to center your thoughts back to reality. You're not going to die when you take a sales call. And the only way to the next level is through. Sales is good. Sales is serving. And you must understand that the more reps you put in, the more calls you take, the better you'll get. Sales is exactly like a muscle. My assumption is a lot of the people watching this may go to the gym, they may work out, they may care about their health. Think about it this way. If you don't train a muscle, what happens? It deteriorates. It gets smaller. If you need to train that muscle every single day, and it constantly needs to be trained to improve. So this is why I would encourage you to rewatch this section, because I'm going to be giving you a live sales call that we're going to go through, and we're going to break it down so you can see the entire full stack process end to end. So on the document that you should already have, that you've made a copy of, I've gone ahead and attached a template of our demo call framework. This is exactly how we conduct these sales calls and how we go through the sales process, okay? Now that being said, I'm going to cut to another video that I've already made and broken down